endometriosis is one of the most painful conditions that women suffer from, and I find is one of the most undiagnosed, or takes the longest to actually get diagnosed with endometriosis. The reason being is that it can present so differently in women. And there are some women who don't even know that they have it. They have no idea. They're thinking that the cramps I have, the pain that I have, the searing pain that I have at these certain times of the month is normal, or yeah, that's just, you know, this other weird thing, or it goes away, so I guess I'm fine. No, my friend, no. And here's the thing that we're going to talk about, why you might have endometriosis. Endometriosis is essentially the uterine tissue. So this is your uterus. The uterine tissue from inside there decides to migrate to other areas, decides to go hang out somewhere else. Maybe it wants to, travel north and hang out in your intestines. Does that mean that when you have a bowel movement that you might have pain? Absolutely. When you eat a lot of food, you might have pain. If your stomach gets bloated from eating something that might not agree with you, are you going to have more pain? Absolutely. Absolutely. So fun, right? So fun. Also, it can migrate to your bladder. It can migrate to your bladder, and that can really attach to your bladder. That way it can increase urination or create more pressure, things like that, especially when that endometrial tissue also gets flared up. When you have an endometriosis flare, all of that tissue will be flared. I chatted with a woman who had a recent surgery in the past few months, had surgery to remove a lot of her endometriosis. The surgeon did a great job, was fantastic, was very familiar with endometriosis, and really went looking for where else it could be in her abdomen. And prior to this, and she didn't even make the connection in her head, prior to this, she was very active, worked out a lot, right? Did a lot of running, biking, things like that. And she really was having this hip issue. Really was thinking like, I just really need to stretch my hip more. My hip is super tight. Maybe I pulled it when I was running, I'm not sure. So she was doing all this other stuff to try and stretch her hip. She had her surgery for endometriosis, and then after her recovery, realized my hip isn't tight, realized I don't have any more issues with my hip, and then went back to her surgical notes and found out that they removed endometrial tissue from her psoas muscle. What? Yeah, it was in her hip flexor. Migrated there, migrated to the muscle tissue and embedded there. So to have that removed, it cleared up a lot of the issues, pain, inflammation she was having in that area. So think about this when you're thinking about pain, right? And me going into this much of a story talking about this, I want you to realize like you're not alone when you have this pain or when you feel like nobody's listening to you. So it can present differently. You can have this pain around your monthly cycle. You can have it with ovulation. You can have it with different activities. You can have it when you go to the bathroom. And it can be sharp pain sometimes, or dull, achy pain, or, that's why it can be hard to diagnose, because it can present so differently at different times. So, but kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you're tracking your symptoms, as you're keeping track of the type of pain you have, how often you have it, and how bad it gets. That is really important information. So when we look at why do I have endometriosis, where does it come from? There's several areas to look at. It's never just one thing. But one of the main things we're looking at is actually excess estrogen. Having excess estrogen build up in your system that creates and catapults this endometriosis and causes more flares. So that can be a huge thing. Now we're talking about getting rid of that excess estrogen. One of my favorite things is my detox support supplement. This is really helpful for helping your liver process out that excess estrogen. That's really key. When we talk about genetic factors, this goes into methylation, and even, a lot of times people might have that genetic variant MTHFR or some other things along those lines. So it's really important that we're looking at what your system has specifically to see if there's any genetic triggers there, because oftentimes there is. The last one is your immune system. There's a lot of people who actually want to categorize endometriosis as an autoimmune condition, and it's not necessarily wrong, because if your immune system is struggling, if you get sick, if you have other flare-ups of other conditions, things like that, it can make your endometriosis that much worse. So the healthier you are overall, and the better your immune system is functioning, the less flares and the less intense your endometriosis can be. So those are some really important things to really monitor as we're moving forward. Now, if you're looking for more information, right? If you're looking for more help, that type of a thing, make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. Make sure you're diving into that because I've got so many resources there. I also have my books, The Female Fat Solution. This is a best-selling book on Amazon. And then The Female Menopause Solution, also on Amazon. And then I also have my podcast, which is The Female Health Solution, where I do talk more in depth about these issues for women's health. So that's what I got for you guys today. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Please let me know if there's any other guidance that you would need, or if you want me to deep dive into more specifics with the methylation, genetic issues, and endometriosis. I'd be more than happy to. But if you're looking for other supplements and things to help with endometriosis, again, I recommend the detox support here, and then my tinctures to help balance your estrogen and progesterone so that can be, managed instead of getting out of control. So that's what I got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you later.